Hi everyone. So today we will start with chapter 12 excretion, and in this video we will talk about excretory products, nitrogenous waste, and we are going to describe the role of the liver in deamination. Let's start with the definition of excretion. As we know, excretion is getting rid of excretory products or the products that are the result of metabolic processes or chemical reactions in your body. It is very important to note that it is a result of the metabolic processes that occur in your body. So if someone asked you, do you consider sweat um, as a process of excretion? Because sweat, we are going to talk about sweat in details in chapter 14. We will know that sweat is not considered a process of excretion because sweat simply it is a thermoregulatory process. As I said, we will talk about it in chapter 14, homeostasis, and we will know the role of sweat in regulating the temperature. So whenever we want to mention excretion, we should know that we are talking about a process of getting rid or removing toxic materials and substances in excess, and that result from chemical reactions. We don't need these substances to accumulate in our body because if they accumulate in our body, it will be poisonous. Now we have to differentiate between two important terms, egestion and excretion. Egestion, getting rid of undigested food and feces. It is only, we're talking here only about the process of digestion, but excretion, we are talking about the metabolic processes in our body. Like, let's take an example, respiration. Respiration, it's a metabolic process to provide energy for the cells. So it produces not only energy but also produces water and carbon dioxide, and we need to get rid of carbon dioxide by, as we know, exhalation in the lungs. So let's talk about the excretory organs. Number one, the lungs. As we said now, carbon dioxide, it's a waste material. It's a metabolic product from respiration, and we need to get rid of it. So the lungs are considered excretory organs, and carbon dioxide an excretory product. Number two is the liver. The liver is a very important organ and it plays a very important role in the process of excretion. Why? Because it produces urea. And as we know, the main toxic material in humans that we should get rid of is in the form of urea. So, which organ is responsible in producing urea? It is the liver. Now, the liver, as we mentioned in chapter 7, plays a major role in assimilation. And here we have to know another process, which is deamination. We're going to talk about deamination in a few. Here is a table. We have the excretory organs like lungs, kidneys, liver, and as we said, the skin, we can't consider it as an excretory organ because simply it plays a role in thermoregulation. But we have losses, or we can lose sweat, and as we know, sweat contains water, salt, and urea. The major organ that plays a role in excretion and the major organ that are we going to focus on in this chapter, the kidneys. The kidneys are the major organs that play a role in excretion. So here, as we said, sweating is a response to a rise in temperature and not to a change in the blood composition. In this sense, therefore, skin is not an excretory organ like the lungs and the kidneys. So here again you will find 4 organs of the excretory system. And now we want to talk about deamination. And I want to make sure, as we said, skin is not considered a major excretory organ. It plays a very minor role. So if they asked you, do you consider sweat as an excretory product? It's not an excretory product. It's only as a result of thermoregulation. This slide is very important. And in chapter 14, we will explain again what do we mean by thermoregulation and what do we mean by homeostasis. Now, as we said, the liver plays a very important role in excretion, and this role, as we said in the previous slide, it produces urea. We want to know, how does the liver produce urea? Now, in order to understand the process of deamination, we should first know what do you mean by the word deamination. Now, whenever you see the part D, it means removal, and amination, amine group. So we are mainly talking, in the process of deamination, we are mainly talking about amino acids. So if we look at the amino acid structure, we will find that the amino acid consists of an amino group, and this is what we want to focus on. An amino group is a group that contains nitrogen. So when we say deamination, I'm removing the part that contains the nitrogen. So if I remove this part, as if I'm making this amino acid deaminated. So again, what do we mean by deamination? It is a process that happens in the liver in order to produce urea. Why should I produce urea? Because it is the major excretory product that is expelled by your kidneys. And who is responsible, or which organ is responsible to form urea? It is the liver. So again, deamination process, it occurs in the liver. The liver produces urea, and the urea is excreted by the kidneys. Deamination, we are removing the amino group. When we remove the amino group, this amino group, we will get rid of it. We will break this bond. This process happens in the liver, and we call it deamination, and the major product is ammonia. So when this part is broken down, we call this amino acid deaminated amino acid by the process of deamination, and this group alone, or the part that contains the nitrogen NH2, we call this product ammonia. So if we go back to this figure, page 155, figure 12.3,